You're listening to an interview taken from the Tonic Talk Show and Podcast, heard exclusively on Zoomer Radio. To download or listen to the original episode or other episodes of The Tonic, please visit thetonic.ca.
Joel Thuna is a master herbalist and general manager at Purely Natural. He strives to improve the quality of natural products on the market and passes along his knowledge of herbal remedies through lectures and articles. Joel is a regular contributor to Tonic Magazine and also this show, and it's always a pleasure to have him here. Welcome back, sir. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, and how about you?
I'm doing fantastic. So we are at the tail end of the month, and this month, a lot of people are talking about blood sugar levels and diabetes, because that's sort of front and foremost, and that's what we're going to cover today, yeah?
Yes, it is. It's a subject near and dear to my heart, as I am a diabetic.
I didn't know that.
Yep, I was diagnosed about 20 years ago, so I've been living with this one, and seeing as it's one of the things I live with, I have studied it a lot.
Okay, well, I would think so. I know how much elbow grease you put into research, and I would imagine it's like maybe tenfold if it pertained to you personally. And I really didn't know that, Joel. But I think you may have noticed that, there's a lot more discussion about diabetes recently. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yeah, it's insane. It's one of the top 3 items I found in my spam box in my email on a daily basis. The problem that drives me nuts is most of the spam I get about it is always the secrets doctors don't want you to know about diabetes, or how to cure diabetes in 10 easy steps. And both of them are just a load of hogwash.
Right, because doctors always keep health secrets from you.
Oh, of course. And a doctor would.
And complicated diseases are always really easy to treat in 10 steps. Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, yeah, no problem. 1, 2, 3, you're done. No, diabetes is a complex condition, and the nice thing is that despite it being complex, we know a ton about it because it has been so well studied for decades.
And the reason that it's been so studied is because it affects so many of us. What are the numbers in Canada?
It's actually quite scary. Now, if you look at diabetes itself, 10% of Canadians have been clinically diagnosed with diabetes. And, okay, 10% doesn't sound too nasty. It's a lot. But then you add to that another 3% of the population that is undiagnosed and may never know they have it, but they actually do have it clinically.
Yeah, my father, who had various health issues throughout his life, only found out he was diabetic after he had a heart attack and required a quadruple bypass.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. So it is quite possible for one to have diabetes and actually not know it.
Correct, because there's no quick and easy symptoms that you just, I've got this, therefore you just don't know. So you've got those two, if you add them up, are 13%. And then on top of that, you have an estimated 35% of Canadians that are called pre-diabetics.
Yep.
And the difference between pre-diabetes and diabetes is actually really simple. It's you're really close, you're just not technically there yet. And any little missteps, and you could be fully diabetic.
So your pancreas is being strained and it is still somewhat working, but you haven't sort of crossed the river yet. But a lot of this is sort of tied. Well, we should talk about type 1, type 2, and type 3 diabetes, yeah?
Sure, not a problem. So there are 3 types of diabetes, actually. You've got type 1, which is usually diagnosed in children and adolescents, and it occurs when the person's body does not produce enough insulin or may not produce any at all.
Right.
Then you have type 2, which is the most common form of diabetes, as I put my hand up, which usually develops in adulthood and is characterized by your body not effectively using the insulin that it actually makes. So your body's making insulin, it's just not using it well. And then you have the third one, which is this gestational diabetes. And this occurs during pregnancy, and it's a little wonky in that it may or may not continue post-pregnancy. But in almost 50% of cases, it does lead to type 2 diabetes either immediately following childbirth or later in life.
Let's talk about why having diabetes is really not great.
Diabetes isn't great because what it does is that it affects pretty much every single organ in your body. It's really not a good thing. What it is that by having either impaired insulin usage or lack of insulin production at all, you end up having excessive blood sugar levels. This makes your blood thicker and harder to pump. It makes it almost syrupy, to put it in a vernacular people might know. And by doing this, it puts a strain on your heart, puts a strain on your kidneys. And through that, it makes all your organs more susceptible to impairment, damage, and disease. And all that being said, what ends up happening is it leads to a reduced quality of life, as well as common complications such as heart disease, stroke, and kidney disease, all of which really, really, really suck.
Yeah. So it's not just, and obviously diabetes can be fatal to somebody if it's not treated properly, but it also leads to other conditions which, of course, are potentially lethal.
Oh, definitely. And those also include cancer. A lot of people don't know that if you're a diabetic, you increase your chance of getting cancer significantly. And you've got kidney failure, as we said, heart disease, blindness, nerve damage, and unfortunately, new research has found that it doubles your risk of depression. And that risk keeps increasing as more diabetes-related problems develop.
So is the depression related to the symptomology of the diabetes, or is there something physiological that happens when you have diabetes that makes you susceptible to depression?
They don't know yet. It's relatively new research, but they just don't know. They can't answer that question yet.
Okay. So particularly with type 2 diabetes, and that's what we should focus on, there are lifestyle changes that we can do that can assist us, right?
Oh, definitely. And if you have diabetes, first thing you do, talk to your doctor, because they have a whole kit explaining this and how to do it and strategies and ideas. You're not alone in this. Your doctor is your partner in going through this. Mm-hmm. And you want to use them. I can say personally, I have used my doctor, and I talked to him about this. He's great, and he's a partner with me in managing my diabetes. Mm-hmm. And the nice thing is, like many other conditions, diabetes is manageable. And it's not one massive thing you have to do. It's little things, just lots of little things that add up, and by adding up together, they make it manageable and quite livable without a huge big deal. Because you can do a combination of diet, activity, and supplements. The big three you and I have talked about since the day we met. Mm-hmm. Yep. And they work really well in diabetes to achieve your goal. And the goal in diabetes, to remember, is you want to blunt blood sugar spikes, both up and down, because diabetes gets worse the more high your spikes are going up with blood sugar, and the lower your spikes go with low blood sugar. And what you want to do is narrow that range so the spikes don't go as high in either direction. And that is how you manage it.
Okay. So why don't we start with diet? What are your recommendations?
Well, as you and I have chatted a ton of times, the Western diet is far too heavily weighted in simple carbohydrates, sodium, and unhealthy fats. And these, diabetes loves these. It just loves them. It makes diabetes happier than heck if you're filled with those. And that's because simple carbohydrates get digested quickly and rapidly turned into blood sugar. Mm-hmm. This leads to it spiking. And you eat your meal, it's, I got tons of, for example, white pasta. You get a massive blood sugar, then you get the crash, so the spike goes all the way down. So you get both spikes from a high-carb meal, if it's simple carbs. As well, when you have excess sodium, both from added salt and from sodium found in foods, it increases your blood pressure, leads to heart disease, and that worsens your diabetes. Then you have unhealthy fats, those being your trans fats and your saturated fats. They lead to increased cholesterol, which leads to heart disease, which worsens diabetes. And those three things combined keep you on the heart disease blood sugar spiral. Right. And unless you do something, you're going to slowly go down and down and down into the spiral depths. So you got to stop it.
Are you working with a dietitian?
I was when I was newly diagnosed for about a year. I'm not anymore because I got the tricks and tips, and we worked it out and moved on. But I would definitely suggest not a problem. They're great, and they can help.
Okay. Now, the other piece of the puzzle is exercise. How does that fit in?
Exercise is key. Exercise is, if I could say anything from my personal experience, exercise has been the single biggest thing helping me to control mine. Because exercise and it just makes sense. You've got that excess blood sugar sitting in you because you just ate or you just drank something. Bing, bang, boom. What do? If you exercise, your body uses it.
Yep.
Using it gets this spike down. And I'm not talking you go out there and you pretend you're a bodybuilder, you're Arnold Schwarzenegger. No. You don't have to go insane. All you have to do is, for example, in my case, I walk.
Mm-hmm.
What I do is I try to get in about 1,000 to 1,500 steps every day before I even walk out of my house. And then during the day, for example, when I'm on my phone, anyone who knows me knows this, drives them nuts, I pace while I'm on my phone.
Yep.
So I'm talking, I'm moving, I'm talking, I'm moving, I'm talking, moving. All of a sudden, I've gone through 15,000 steps. Then I get home, have dinner with my family, then my wife and I, after dinner, get up, we go out for a half an hour to 45-minute walk. And we're not running. We're not breaking a sweat even, but we're moving. And that moving, it all adds up. And I'll tell you, completely aside from the diabetes, it is wonderful going on those walks every day. You're in nature, it's nice. Even if it's -10 in the winter or -20, it's still great. And you get a feeling of joy and happiness, so your mental health increases just by being outdoors.
I agree.
It's a great thing.
All right, so we've discussed lifestyle, but you're also an expert in supplementation. So why don't you tell us what you found is helpful and what we should be looking for?
Definitely. First on the supplement list has to be fiber. And this is a bit of a weird one when you talk to people, because most people think, oh my God, if you increase my fiber, I'm going to have to go poop. I'm never going to leave the bathroom. What are you doing this to me? No. First of all, there's two different kinds of fiber. You've got insoluble and soluble. Insoluble is the one that makes you poop. Easiest way to say it. Soluble is the one that has all the other health benefits, one of which is helping control blood sugar. That's a big one. It does a ton of other good things for you, but that's one of the big ones.
Okay.
The good thing is that it doesn't make you go to the bathroom. And now with the new generation of fiber supplements, which have been out about 20 years, they're really easy to take because you take them, you put them in your drink, virtually any drink, you mix, bing, bang, boom, no taste, no smell, no texture, never thickens. Easy to use. And what they found with trials is people who add to their diet by supplementing with at least 13 additional grams of soluble fiber a day have lower blood sugar, and we're talking significantly lower blood sugar, than diabetics who didn't add that fiber to their diet. So one little trick, boom, you have a big difference.
What's next?
The next one is my latest favorite vitamin, vitamin K2, specifically in the all-trans MK7 form. It has multiple benefits for diabetes. Number one, it improves insulin sensitivity, which enables insulin to work better in your body at lowering blood sugar. At the same time, MK7 is highly anti-inflammatory, and it has cholesterol-lowering properties. Both of those combine to reduce some of the cardiovascular risk associated with diabetes. So on one hand, you're actually helping insulin work to do its job in your body, and on the other hand, at the same time, you're helping reduce some of the risks of heart conditions because of the diabetes. So you're hitting it on 2 points at the same time.
Okay. And what else?
Next, we'll talk about chromium. Chromium is an easy one. It's an essential mineral that you take just very, very little amounts of. It's considered a micromineral. But if you have too little chromium in your body can't use glucose efficiently. Studies have found, multiple studies that is, have found that supplementing with chromium, just that one little thing, can reduce blood glucose levels. Bing, bang, boom. Easy.
Okay. Anything else?
Definitely. Two more for you. One is milk thistle. Milk thistle is an herb that most people know for liver and kidney health.
Right.
But they found with multiple studies that regular milk thistle supplementation improves glycemic control. Essentially, it helps your body handle blood sugar, and much like K2, its anti-inflammatory properties also prevent heart issues from diabetes.
Okay. And we have time for one last.
The last one's going to be ginseng. And ginseng, this is both the Asian and the North American varieties. They have been studied for use in lowering blood sugar in multiple studies, multiple places, a lot of it actually right here in Ontario. And studies have found that both types improve insulin sensitivity, enabling the insulin to work better in your body.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Always my pleasure, sir.